Hi. In the last few days, literally on February 10, we had a new introduction of a B3 token. It looks like it's a utility token. I had a meteoric rise. I'm going to share it real quick, what it looks like on the coin market cap right here. As you can see, it's 240% since the introduction, and it also has amazing volume. The last 24-hour volume was $340 million. It's insane. So let's take a look at this coin, what it is, and why it's rising so fast, and what it offers. So we're gonna go into the podcast. It's the AI generated podcast, obviously, but it's based on some of the research that I did, and hopefully you're gonna like it. If you do, please like and subscribe this video. It helps with the algorithms. And also, in the comments, please put your favorite token, hashtag token, show your favorite coins.
Welcome back, everybody, to another deep dive. And today we're diving into something new in the blockchain gaming world.
Yeah.
The B3 token.
Yeah, it's built on the base blockchain.
Yeah.
And designed to power this whole gaming ecosystem.
Yeah, and Base is all about speed and scalability.
Yeah.
Which we know is really crucial for, real-time gaming.
Yeah, for sure. Cheaper and faster transactions than Ethereum's mainnet.
Right, and so that's what I think is so fascinating about this.
Yeah.
If you think about it like this, have you ever experienced lag in a game where your actions are just taking forever to register?
Yeah.
Or you get frustrated by high transaction fees
for sure,
when you're trying to buy in-game items or something. That's kind of what this is aiming to do,
right?
Is streamline the technical side of things.
Yeah, exactly. And what's really cool about it is it's like a layer 3 solution.
Okay.
So it's not just scaling vertically by adding more power to a single blockchain, but it's scaling horizontally. So you're adding, imagine you're adding more lanes to a highway.
I got it.
To handle more traffic.
That's a good analogy.
It's doing the same thing, but for transactions.
Yeah, for transactions.
So it allows for smoother gameplay, even with a huge number of players.
It's like express lanes just for gaming transactions.
Exactly.
So they're not getting bogged down by all the other traffic on the network.
Exactly.
So it's already gotten a lot of attention. There are over 6 million players.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And over 80 live games already running on this platform.
It's pretty wild.
So what's driving this early adoption?
I mean, a few things come to mind.
Okay.
First of all, the team is made up of former Base and Coinbase engineers.
Okay.
So that brings a lot of credibility.
They know what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, helps in the wild west of crypto.
Exactly. And then, beyond the team itself, B3 is really designed with user friendliness in mind.
Okay.
So they've removed a lot of the hurdles that often scare away non-crypto gamers.
Like setting up a crypto wallet.
Exactly.
To start playing.
You don't have to do that with this.
That's cool.
Yeah, you can just jump right into games. Even if you're brand new to blockchain tech.
Yeah, you got to appeal to everybody,
yeah,
not just the crypto people.
Exactly.
So let's talk about the B3 token itself.
Yeah.
How does that fit into this whole ecosystem?
So the B3 token is it's the lifeblood of the platform.
Oh, okay.
You use it for everything,
right.
In-game transactions,
okay,
rewards, staking, participating in governance.
Oh, so it's the fuel that keeps the whole engine running.
Yeah.
Now, we've got to get into the nitty-gritty here because our listeners love that.
Of course they do.
So we've got a scorecard here that we're going to use to evaluate B3's utility.
Okay.
Basically, how useful and valuable the token is in the real world.
Makes sense.
And we're going to rate it across 10 key categories.
Okay.
Kind of like we're giving it a report card.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay, so we can see where it excels and where maybe it needs a little bit more work.
Love it.
All right, so let's start with use case and utility.
Okay.
This is all about how the token is actually being used within the B3 ecosystem. And guess what?
What?
B3 scores an 8 out of 10 here.
Wow.
Pretty good.
That's impressive.
It's a strong start right out of the gate.
Yeah, for sure. Because, like we were saying, the B3 token, it's not just there for speculation. It's deeply integrated into the platform.
Okay.
So you need it for in-game activities.
Okay.
And if you're a developer building on B3, you use it to access developer tools.
I see.
And even launch those dedicated game chains, which we'll talk about later.
Okay, cool. And speaking of adoption, our next category is market adoption and demand.
All right.
And again, B3 shines with another 8 out of 10.
Another 8.
Really impressive.
Yeah, those early adoption numbers are seriously impressive.
Yeah.
Over 6 million players and 80 plus live games.
It shows people are actually using it.
For sure, it tells us that there's real demand for what B3 is offering.
Yeah, they're not just talking about it.
Right.
They're actually using it.
Exactly. So moving right along, let's get into some of the technical details for the next category.
Okay.
Tokenomics and distribution.
Okay.
Where B3 scores a solid 7 out of 10.
A 7? That's still pretty good.
Yeah, not bad.
Not bad at all. So for our listeners who might be new to this term, can you explain what tokenomics even means?
Oh, yeah. So tokenomics is basically the economics of a cryptocurrency token.
Okay.
So it covers things like how the token is distributed,
Okay.
how it can be used,
Okay.
and what incentives are in place to encourage its use and value growth.
I got it.
So in the case of B3, the token allocation is divided between the community, the team, and advisors, a foundation dedicated to the project, and of course, investors.
Okay, so it's about making sure that everyone has a stake in the success of B3.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And you mentioned something about vesting schedules earlier.
Right.
What does that mean?
So vesting schedules determine when tokens become available for use.
Right.
They're often put in place to prevent large amounts of tokens from flooding the market all at once,
Right.
which could destabilize the price.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it's kind of like a gradual release mechanism.
Okay, so it encourages a long-term commitment.
Yeah, and stability.
Right.
Now, one thing to note is that some details about B3's tokenomics are still emerging.
Okay.
It's an ongoing process for them to share information as it becomes available.
So transparency is key.
Absolutely, especially in the crypto world.
Exactly. All right, so let's move on to team and governance.
All right.
Where B3 grabs another impressive score, 8 out of 10.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, the team's experience is definitely a major asset here.
Okay.
Having those former Base and Coinbase engineers on board definitely brings a lot of credibility.
Sure.
And while the governance structure is still evolving,
Okay.
early indications point towards a focus on transparency and community involvement,
Okay.
which is encouraging.
So they're not just building a platform, they're
Yes.
building a community.
Right, exactly. They want users to actually have a voice into how the platform develops.
Okay, so we've covered use case, adoption, tokenomics, and the team.
Right.
Let's get into the tech itself.
Okay.
Technology and development progress. Another 8 out of 10 for B3.
Wow, they're on a roll.
I know. What are your thoughts?
Well, this is where that layer 3 solution that we talked about earlier really shines.
Okay.
B3 is built for scalability and speed.
Okay.
They launched their mainnet back in August of 2024, and they've been rapidly onboarding games ever since,
Okay.
which shows that, they're executing their vision well.
So how about security?
Yeah.
That's a huge concern for anyone in the blockchain space.
Oh, absolutely. Which brings us to network security and audits,
Okay.
where B3 receives a 7 out of 10.
Okay.
Now, operating on the Base blockchain, which is backed by Coinbase's security standards, definitely provides a strong foundation.
So they're building on a solid base?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I see what you did there.
But as with any new project in the crypto world, more detailed public audit reports would further strengthen confidence.
Okay, that makes sense. Transparency is everything
Yeah.
in this space. All right, let's zoom out a bit.
Okay.
Look at the bigger picture.
All right.
Ecosystem and partnerships.
Okay.
B3 scores another 8 out of 10.
Another week.
What's driving that?
It's the growth and collaboration that we're seeing.
Okay.
They've already built a diverse ecosystem with, over 80 games. Ambitious plans for multiple dedicated game chains.
Now, you mentioned game chains a few times.
Right.
Can you break that down for our listeners who might not be familiar with the concept?
Yeah. So a game chain in the B3 ecosystem is basically like a dedicated lane on a highway,
Okay.
but for a specific game.
Got it.
So it allows developers to create a blockchain specifically for their game,
Oh.
optimizing performance and scalability.
Okay.
So all the transactions related to that game occur on its own dedicated chain. Oh, that's cool. So it's like a custom-built environment
Exactly.
for each game to thrive.
Yeah, and it's a major trend that we're seeing in blockchain gaming. Developers want more control over their game's economy and rules,
Okay.
and players want a smoother, more responsive gaming experience.
So you also mentioned cross-chain interoperability earlier.
Right.
Could you explain what that means and why it's important?
Yeah, so cross-chain interoperability means that players can potentially move their in-game items and assets between different blockchains.
Okay, so imagine I earn a super rare sword in one game built on B3.
Uh-huh.
Could I then use that same sword in a different game, even if it's on a completely different blockchain?
That's the idea.
Okay.
It unlocks a whole new level of ownership and portability for players,
Wow.
allowing them to truly own their digital assets and move them between different gaming experiences.
That's a game changer.
Yeah.
All right, back to our scorecard. Next up, community strength and engagement. Another 8 out of 10 for B3.
Wow, they're killing it.
Yeah, they've cultivated a vibrant and engaged community.
Yeah.
Which is essential for any successful blockchain project.
For sure. And with over 6 million players, they're clearly doing something right.
What are they doing to foster that sense of community?
Well, they're actively using reward programs and airdrops, which incentivize participation and make players feel like they're a part of something special.
Yeah.
You know, it's about building a sense of ownership and belonging.
Right.
Like you're part of a club and you're invested in its success.
Right.
And a strong community can be a powerful force for growth and adoption.
All right. Liquidity and exchange support, B3, secures another 8 out of 10.
Okay.
So this category looks at how easily the B3 token can be traded.
Right.
And it's currently listed on several major exchanges.
Yeah, like Bybit, Coinbase, Gate.io.
Which is a positive sign.
It is. We're seeing healthy trading volumes and liquidity. Indicating a good level of buying and selling activity.
So there's a lot of interest from both players and investors.
Yeah.
All right, that brings us to our final category, regulatory compliance and legal clarity. This is a big one.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially as the crypto landscape continues to evolve.
Definitely.
B3 scores a 7 out of 10 here.
Okay.
What are some of the regulatory challenges facing a project like B3?
That's a great question, and it's a complex area. One of the biggest challenges is the classification of in-game assets and tokens. Are they considered securities, or are they more like in-game currency?
Right.
The answer has huge implications from a legal and financial perspective.
And different countries have different rules.
Right.
Which makes things even trickier.
Exactly. But the good news is that we're seeing more dialogue and collaboration between regulators and industry players. Which is crucial for the long-term growth and adoption of blockchain gaming.
So how is B3 navigating this regulatory maze?
Well, being backed by Coinbase Ventures and operating on the Base blockchain gives them a certain level of credibility. From a regulatory standpoint, you know, Coinbase is a publicly traded company with a history of working with regulators.
So B3 kind of benefits from that association.
To a certain extent, yes. It suggests that they're committed to operating within the legal framework.
But it's still important for them to be transparent and proactive.
Absolutely.
About their own legal and regulatory approach.
For sure, as the industry matures, providing more detailed information about their legal structure and compliance measures will be essential for building trust with both investors and regulators.
So we've covered all 10 categories on our utility scorecard.
Yeah.
It's time for the big reveal. Drum roll, please. And B3 scores 77 out of 100.
Pretty impressive.
On the utility scale.
That's a fantastic score. It really highlights B3's strengths across the board.
Yeah.
From its innovative technology and strong team to its thriving community and commitment to compliance.
Yeah.
B3 is positioning itself as like a major contender in the blockchain gaming space.
So to recap for our listeners, B3 is a gaming token built on the Base blockchain.
Right.
Designed for speed and scalability. We've explored its unique features. Like the Layer 3 solution and cross-chain interoperability. And we've taken a deep dive into the team, the tokenomics, and the growing B3 ecosystem.
All important stuff.
And we've also seen that B3 is taking regulatory compliance seriously.
Yeah, which is crucial.
Which is really important in this evolving landscape.
Absolutely.
And remember, this deep dive is for informational purposes only.
Of course.
We're just exploring the fascinating world of B3.
Always do your own research.
This is not financial, legal, or tax advice.
The crypto world is constantly changing, so it's important to stay informed.
Couldn't agree more so as we wrap up our exploration of B3.
Yeah.
Let's leave our listeners with something to think about. If you were building a blockchain game, what features would you prioritize?
Yeah, what unique elements would you incorporate to create a truly immersive and rewarding gaming experience, and how would you leverage a token like B3 to enhance that experience?
Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep into the world of blockchain.